It is with great pleasure that I like to send my keynote address to the Iramot conference. It was very good that in 2011 I came to see all of you, and trust me, I have been highly inspired by all of you and the way you all reacted with and the warmth and your really kindness and generosity is always in my mind and in my heart. Also, we value, at least I have read some of the history of Iran and from ancient Persia. It's one of the ancient countries I always classify as a civilization land in the world. So I really like you to come in this not easy time to bring back Iran to be the civilization land for creating one global human families. By so doing, the world will now be moving from the current disaster risk to a situation where new opportunities for a better life will be created for all citizens in the world. So your topic for the conference, the overall title, Innovation Management in the Face of Crisis, is really very timely and very, very important. So my one will be, the title will be very much like yours. It's Innovation Management in the Face of Crisis in Africa. So the post-COVID innovation system, the African innovation system that's needed, is what I'm more curious about. At the moment, let me say, the current way in which the world is going is not very hopeful. The world is now going through major crisis. There is a COVID-19 pandemic. There is a global climate change. There is still unending poverty, unemployment, and inequality in the world. Even the countries that is said to have the high gross domestic product, the United States of America, is said to have over 30 million of its people are very poor. So there is a global demographic explosion. There is also, in this digital world time, the fourth industrial revolution, we have what's called cybercrime, and even a kind of capitalism called surveillance capitalism is also imposing itself on all of us. You can see that in the media world is the fake news, the misinformation, the disinformation, many things are happening. There is also a challenge where there is what I call the colonial mindset, the SIM card, the hard disk, all right, the software of the mentality of many of, especially the place where I am in Africa. It really has creates serious innovation management crisis. The reason is in this innovation, to manage it, the knowledge sources that are very critically important are not acknowledged or included, are not revived, excavated. For example, the indigenous knowledge, all right, that all our farmers, the majority of our people, over 70% of the African population are in the rural areas, but that knowledge that exists in the rural areas, in the informal economy, is not acknowledged. And that is a serious challenge that we face. And the rich indigenous knowledge heritage, the rich spiritual heritage, must also be included with the so-called scientific knowledge that you see in the rest of the world. So we need some kind of what I call epistemological fusion that must come, and that's very seriously important. I can just give you two concrete examples on the African context. For example, when Africans want to create an innovation system to address their problem, where do they develop the concept of the innovation system? They get it from the OECD countries. We do not contextualize it. We do not reconceptualize it. We do not re-theorize it. We keep mimicking, copying, and ignoring the specific reality that we need to understand, explain, and make it as the resource and the source for producing the new knowledge that's relevant and necessary to make a difference. I think the neglected indigenous knowledge and the neglected innovation approach have to be addressed. If we really want to deal now with the current crisis and we want to manage it, as you rightly said, the COVID-19 has accelerated exponentially the use of digital technology at this time. All right, we do need in Africa, and not just a system of innovation that we borrow and copy from the rest of the world, but what I call a new social innovation system has to be re-innovated. So I want the title for you have asked me to change the title. I want to call it the post-COVID-19 African Social Innovation System to address the crisis of Africa is what I would like to do. So the challenges we face now. If we have innovative and united Africa, Africa can accelerate to enter from the COVID-19 world disorder, which we are currently facing, to a new post-COVID-19 world reorder. How to go out of the new COVID-19 global value chain of moving from the health crisis to bring about economic, social, environmental, all right, from all these different crises, how we can bring about an economic, social, and more right health opportunities from crisis to really reducing and eventually eradicating the crisis. That challenge is very, very important. What we need in the African context is to innovate, to prevent and cure, not just by using vaccines and others that come from all kinds of sources, but also to use our traditional herbal and indigenous medicine and knowledge. That's extremely important that we value and integrate and work together with the different knowledge ideas that exist even in the medicine, in the traditional medicine sphere. How to manage vaccines. Nearly over 80 countries are involved now in trying to find, and some are saying they need to test it first by using Africans infected with coronavirus. So we are a challenge, we're supposed to be infected, and when we are infected, we're supposed to be the test cases. And this has been recommended by 2 French doctors, and it has been a serious problem. So we have serious challenges for how we can make Africa enter, by managing innovation, into the post-COVID reorder, or how to prevent Africa being distracted from this, from coming and realizing it, is a very serious issue. How to manage the challenge is upon all of us to work harder by doing the science, the research and development, and open innovation with measurable and tangible application and output is very, very necessary. So one of the things we also need to value is a spiritual heritage that comes from Africa, which is very, very rich. This spiritual heritage is very, very important because Africa has the philosophy of Ubuntu. And Ubuntu is a very powerful philosophy. It says, I am because you are. Many is one, one is many. There is an I in you and you in I. Diversity is not negative, it can be an asset. It should not take away our similarity and oneness. Let us learn with humility, honesty, sincerity, and integrity to appreciate diversity in order to celebrate our one humanity with selfless moral and emotional intelligence, and not the pursuit of narrow self-interest. Any variations such as color, language, religion, caste, ethnicity, gender, and all do not change our humanity or diminish it. If we know how to appreciate difference by not denying our human similarity, we can create a humane, peaceful, and civilized world with values of care and share, and not to live in the current capitalist global world run by pricing everything and valuing nothing. A dog or horse or any animal can be black or white, still a dog or horse, donkey, and all. A human being can be brown, black, or white, still human. Color cannot change the human gene or character. Those that created the crime using color to buy and sell humans as goods and things should learn the big tragic mistake they made. Let one human family occupy peacefully our world to keep it going in the eternal river of time to create the post-COVID-19 world reorder. Very important also in terms of religion. We need to universalize religion. The way one worships God and the way another person worships God may be different. But we should never say the way I worship God is better, or the way I worship Allah is better than the way you worship Allah. What we should say is that even if you worship differently from the way I worship Allah, what we should do is we tolerate and understand that you reach God in your own way. We also reach God in our own way. There's one God, one Allah. You can reach Him in any way, but you universalize. The way we worship God could differ, but the only one we worship is God. Because of that, if we do something like that, then we could use religion as an asset. All right? I mean, if you see the Quran, the Holy Quran, there's huge amount of knowledge, extraordinary knowledge is there. Not just spiritual knowledge, but also scientific knowledge. So I even taught a course on Islamic science in England. It took me 2 years to develop it, and we've done it. So I like us also to universalize or humanize ourselves. If we do something like this, then we can manage. That is the best way to innovate, to do the innovation management you are thinking about, to deal with the current crisis that we face. So COVID-19 in Africa, the narratives. Africa can mount a stronger COVID-19 response strategy by using regional trade blocks to coordinate, consolidate, and connect resources across the continent. Narrative 1 is the danger to Africa. Cases are doubling, infections are increasing, and an uncontrollable swell of COVID-19 cases and deaths will soon overtake, they say, healthcare systems across the continent. Narrative 2, COVID-19 in Africa can be subdued, and that the continent can likely avoid catastrophe due to early action to prevent imported cases, having most of the population being young. So, narrative C, in between, neither danger nor COVID-19 to be subdued. This is based on a new modeling report from the World Health Organization Africa Regional Office. In the middle, neither danger or safety, predicting in Africa, COVID-19 will be in the middle. The WHO regional study claims about 47 African states will not have as many severe cases or deaths as the rest of the world. The report said nearly 200,000 deaths and over 5 million infections into 20 may take place. But some states like Madagascar have said they have their own cure and left the World Health Organization. Others say that Africa has fragile health systems exist in it and may not cope with the dealing with the COVID-19 crisis. Pandemic or no pandemic, the healthcare systems have to be strong to deal with all the health challenges in Africa. So, new approach to create innovative Africa. There is a need to open the door for theories that are grounded and contextualized in the African setting that can serve also as lenses to eliminate the current COVID-19 related empirical reality and specificity of the African situation and context. We need to go for open innovation system. Innovation that has been defined as novelty and usefulness needs to go beyond the economy and commerce, all right, and market, and must include health if the world is to go from COVID-19 to the post-COVID-19 global reorder. Open innovation to revalidate it by including health achievements, both prevention and cure, not relying on the validation criteria of commerce, economy, and market. The validation criteria for both novelty and usefulness has to be transformed. There should be an inclusive health, well-being, service provision, environmental protection, humanitarian criteria, above the current dominant validation.